Good afternoon. The Aga Khan is visiting Canada for the first time since taking over the rule early last year.
The religious leader is meeting with officials as well as members of the Ismaili Muslim community. CTV's Rahim Ladani has been following the Aga Khan's visit and joins us live now with more. Rahim.
Nathan, Michelle, good afternoon. Yes, you're right. His Highness Prince Rahim Aga Khan has met a number of dignitaries and signed a number of memorandums on his visit, and today was no different. He was on hand today for the inauguration ceremony of Generations Toronto. That's this 27-story building standing behind me, and what it is a new model for affordable housing and long-term care homes. There are 390 affordable rental units, as well as 122 long-term care bed facilities. Generations Toronto is a not-for-profit community and a new housing model meant to provide affordable housing for families while also giving seniors a space to age with dignity. This is a public-private partnership, including the province and city, but this project was led by His Highness Prince Rahim Aga Khan, the 50th hereditary Imam of Shia Ismaili Muslims, along with funding by private community donors. Now, this facility is open to the general public, but the goal of this space is to provide culturally appropriate housing and services for the Ismaili community, of which there are 120,000 across Canada. Have a listen to what dignitaries and officials had to say at today's inauguration.
In the Islamic tradition, care for the elderly is not a social policy, it's a duty. Reverence for those who came before us, solidarity across generations, responsibility to the places where we live. These are the ethical commitments that guide the Ismaili Muslim community.
It is a full community, a village, a place where people of all generations can live with dignity, stability, and care. This reflects something the Ismaili community has always understood.
Now, the first residents are expected to move in the month of May, and this is actually the second Generations facility in Canada. The first opened in Calgary in 2012, and a third one will open in Vancouver later this year. Reporting live, I'm Rahim Ladani. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Rahim. Still to come, the latest on the war in the Middle East. We'll have more on a new threat from U.S. President Donald Trump against the Iranian regime a little later in the newscast. But first, police have arrested a man in connection with a human trafficking investigation. 27-year-old Isaiah Kassim is facing several charges, including human trafficking, forcible confinement, and assault. He was arrested on March 24th. Investigators have released his picture as they're concerned there may be more victims.
York Regional Police are investigating a rash of gas station robberies. The latest incident happened at a Petro-Canada station at Hillwood Street and McCowan Road in Markham around 12:20 a.m. No injuries have been reported, and police have not indicated what was stolen. But this marks the third time in as many days that a gas station in York Region has been robbed. Around 8:15 last night, a Petro-Canada station near Dufferin and Steeles in Vaughan was robbed. Police believe the same suspect is involved in both incidents. And a Pioneer gas station near Highway 50 and Trade Valley Drive was robbed around 7:30 p.m. on Saturday. Police have not indicated if the same suspect is being sought in connection with this incident. Investigators are asking anyone who might have information to come forward.
The North York Harvest Food Bank is celebrating a record donation, which it says will be transformational in its effort to address food insecurity. North York Harvest says the Sprott Foundation is donating up to $4 million in support of its new community food hub. The hub will expand the food bank's ability to store, prepare, and distribute food. As part of the donation, the foundation will be contributing $4 for every dollar donated to North York Harvest as part of a new fundraising campaign.
The power of it is the multiplying effect that it's going to have, so that everyone who donates to North York Harvest right now, every dollar that we receive will be turned into $5. That is incredibly impactful. It's the most significant support we've ever received as part of the most significant campaign we've ever received, and it's going to go to support the largest project that we've ever undertaken. So it was an incredible relief and an incredible vote of confidence coming from the Sprott Foundation, who are real experts in poverty reduction and food security here in our city.
The Sprott Foundation calls the new community food hub an innovative and bold approach to addressing hunger. Last week, City Council ordered staff to draft a plan to create city-run grocery stores.
It's part of an effort to lower food costs, but critics think the city may have bitten off more than it can chew. CTV's Kamal Karamali explains.
It was an idea served up by New York Mayor Zoran Mamdani that's been gaining momentum. Not-for-profit, city-run grocery stores.
Motion 4A carries.
Now, the city of Toronto voted Thursday to become one of the first in North America to test out municipally operated grocery stores, 4 locations, meant to create more competition against the privately owned grocery giants by offering food items at a subsidized price.
To ensure that the lowest possible food prices are attained.
Grocery shoppers with an appetite to try anything to cut food costs.
I think anything that we try that's innovative, and if it works, why not?
Just ask Maria Sanchez, who struggles every week to afford quality foods.
I'm a single mother, and it's just hard to find good, especially produce.
But there's a belief the city is biting off more than it can chew, with profit margins for food already razor thin.
Every dollar that you put through at the till, there's about 4 cents that is coming back as profit. Can they match the purchasing power and the efficiency of the for-profit sector and then deliver it without that profit motive?
Other Canadian cities watching closely, Ottawa has its staff exploring the idea.
There are people that are very positive towards it, and there are people that are very much against it.
While Vancouver councillors instead wanting to put more money into already existing independent grocers and co-ops.
And allow them to do what they already know how to do rather than us step in and try and take over in something that we have absolutely no expertise in.
Toronto City staff are expected to report back to council with a plan a year from now in spring of 2027. So it'll still be some time until we see these city-run grocery stores turn into a reality. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
A note for commuters, there's an early nightly closure on a portion of the TTC's Line 1 this week. Starting at 11:59 p.m., trains will be replaced by buses between Shepherd West and Lawrence West stations. The closure is the result of planned track work. The early shutdown will be in place through Thursday. Regular service is set to resume each morning around 6. We have more news in a moment, but first, here's a live look at the city this afternoon. Cloudy, and it's going to be even more cloudier, but mild. This is going to be, for sure, one of the warmest days we've had in a while. Let's bring in Lindsay Morrison with a look at the current conditions. Hey, Lindsay.
Yeah, it's a nice temperature change, Nathan. I think many of us are ready for teen highs, and we're already at 17 degrees at Pearson Airport. It is 18 degrees this hour in Niagara Falls. Quite a bit cooler if you're joining us from Owen Sound, Parry Sound, or Goderich, and you will find it a little cooler by the lake downtown Toronto today, with an afternoon high expected to be around 13. Winds are out of the southwest today. They're not overly gusty, save for a couple of locations, and we might see a bit of a shift to a west wind as the day goes on. We have seen an increase in cloud cover, so just be mindful of that. Yes, it is expected to get a little cloudier as the day goes on, but it's nice to be above seasonal. We've had quite a few cool days in this early start to the spring season. There's a few more mild ones ahead this week, but we are also looking at some pretty active weather with showers and storms. We'll talk about when you can expect each of those ahead in your weather forecast. But for now, Nathan, I'll send it back over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Today marks Avi Lewis's first full day on the job as the new leader of the federal NDP following his election over the weekend.
This is about all of us coming together to find our place and our power in the thrilling work of building a shared future.
Lewis won on the first ballot at the NDP's leadership convention, capturing 56% of the vote. Some policies he campaigned on include blocking any new pipeline, new taxes on the highest earner, and public options for groceries. His energy policy has already led to pushback from provincial NDP leaders in Alberta and Saskatchewan.
Canada's tourism industry is struggling to find workers as employers face tighter rules on foreign labor and fewer Canadians are stepping in.
In some areas like Alberta's mountain tourism hotspots, the challenges are even more complex. CTV's Kathy Lee explains.
What kind of work are you looking for?
Just days after arriving in Banff from Lithuania, Kantara Daumantaita is already at a job fair.
My goal is to get a seasonal job, a summer job, and stay
for whatever the time takes for that job.
She's one of hundreds here, many on work visas, seeking positions in the tourist mountain town. And those looking to hire for the upcoming summer rush, like Brandy White,
I'm just going to create a new folder and
really need help.
I'm desperate. I have to find at least 35 people before June 1st.
Job seekers also include some Canadians, like Jimmy Stevens from nearby Canmore.
I have 2 part-time jobs that are great jobs and everything, but we're struggling to pay the bills every month.
With the number of people expected at the job fair, there is an appetite for people to come here and work. But employers and job seekers say one of the biggest challenges of working in this area is affordable housing.
Sergio Garcia, head chef for Juniper Hotel Bistro in Banff, says with record tourism levels, the need for staff is rising.
We do offer housing.
Is there enough?
That's the problem. Now it's not enough.
Canmore and Banff both face extreme housing shortages driven by high demand and limited supply. For many, the cost is out of reach, which means local recruits are hard to come by.
We are trying to hire Canadians. Anybody that's Canadian that's looking for a job, please come see me. We just can't find enough.
White says temporary foreign workers are essential, but tighter rules on foreign labor in Canada and slow approvals make it challenging to bring them in. As for affordable housing, there are plans to increase capacity in both towns. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Banff.
The cost of a passport is increasing for the first time in more than a decade. Starting tomorrow, the price of a 10-year passport is going up $3.50 to a total of $163.50. The cost of a 5-year passport is rising by $2.50 to $122.50. It's the first time prices have increased since 2013. Starting on April 1st, the federal government is also promising passport applications will be processed within 30 business days or there will be no charge. Canada's new immigration law for asylum seekers, known as Bill C-12, has sparked debate on Parliament Hill.
Critics say it gives unchecked powers to the government. CTV's Judy Trin has more on the potential impacts.
Bill C-12 is now law, an election promise by Mark Carney's government being carried out.
To be able to stabilize our immigration, Mr. Speaker. And that's in essence what Bill C-12 does.
But critics say the legislation is dangerous, that it puts the rights of refugees and migrants at risk.
It takes rights away from people who are seeking protection and it hands more unchecked power to the government.
Under the Strengthening Canada's Immigration System and Border Act, people fleeing persecution and danger will have 1 year to file for asylum or face deportation. Advocates say it's unreasonable.
Our experience of our frontline members is that it always takes more than a year for someone to feel safe enough to know that they can make a claim, for example, if they're a woman fleeing domestic violence, or for an LGBTQ person.
The law could impact between 20 to 40,000 asylum seekers who arrived after June 2020 who have yet to file a claim.
There is no definition of what the public interest is, and we know historically that how that gets defined can be very politically motivated.
Immigration is often a flashpoint. Advocates are concerned the government's new power will lead to the mass cancellation of applications by people applying for study or work permits or refugee status.
These orders used to exist in the 1930s in Canadian immigration policy and were used, for example, to strip Japanese Canadians of their citizenship during World War II, or to turn away the MS St. Louis, which was carrying Jews fleeing persecution from Nazi Germany.
Immigration advocates say this new law passed by Parliament may result in violations of UN protections for refugees and migrants and could lead to more challenges in federal court. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Prime Minister Mark Carney, Premier Doug Ford, and Mayor Olivia Chow are gathered in Etobicoke this hour.
Last hour, the leaders making an announcement about a housing partnership aimed at lowering cost. And CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris joins us live now with more on the plans. Siobhan.
Well, this is another attempt to really kickstart building, to get more homes built right across the country, but of course, especially right here in Ontario. How this is going to work is the provincial and federal governments are each going to put up $4.4 billion each. That's to help municipalities lower development charges, cut them by half. That's money that cities rely on to help build roads, infrastructure, sewers, all the things that are necessary to support those homes. The government's essentially saying here, if you cut your development charges, we'll backstop you. We'll help pay for some of that infrastructure that you need. We also got a formal announcement about what we heard in the provincial budget last week, and that's that the federal government will match what the province is doing to cut HST on all new home purchases up to $1 million. We also heard new cooperation from the federal government when it comes to a major transit promise here in Toronto. Here's what the Prime Minister had to say.
We've reached an agreement with the province and the city. And thank you, Mayor Chow. Province and the city to build the Waterfront East LRT, connecting Union Station to the Portlands. This is a line that will provide service to more than 150,000 people who will live and work on the eastern waterfront, 50,000 daily riderships a day.
Well, the Prime Minister was asked where he comes down on the Premier's plan to expand the island airport to accommodate bigger jets and reach further destinations. No hard answer from him on that. He says this is an ongoing conversation trying to modernize that airport. Well, during the Prime Minister's clip, you did hear some yelling in the background. That was protesters here asking for compensation for people who survived mercury poisoning at Grassy Narrows in Northern Ontario. The Prime Minister said those people have every right to protest. It's Canada. Reporting live, I'm Siobhan Morris. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Siobhan. Air Canada's CEO, Michael Rousseau, has announced he'll be retiring by the end of the third quarter this year after spending nearly 2 decades with the country's largest airline. CTV's Scott Hurst has been following the announcement. He joins us live with more on it. And Scott, I think the first thing everybody is thinking is, does this have anything to do with all the backlash over his condolence video and the lack of French?
Michelle, good afternoon. So the big headline is, of course, a shakeup at the top for Canada's largest airline, but there is a lot more context to add to this. First, the statement from the airline, from Air Canada, saying a process is underway to select Michael Rousseau's successor, and he will stay on and help with the process, adding that the board will consider a number of performance criteria in assessing candidates, and it does single out this line, including the ability to communicate in French, Michelle, which takes us to the question of the recent backlash. The CEO under fire for many in the government and in Quebec in particular for his lack of ability to speak and communicate in French. The recent criticism after Rousseau put out a video offering condolences after a fatal crash that killed 2 of the airline's pilots at LaGuardia Airport. However, the video was only offered in English, barring just 2 words in French, and that prompted another response from the CEO apologizing for his lack of ability to speak in French and promised again to improve. Here's more context from former NDP leader and CTV News political commentator Tom Mulcair.
A lot of people across Canada understood that if it had been the French head of Air Canada who had expressed condolences only in French, then the families would have been upset if the shoe was on the other foot. So I think people basically understand that. Now they're going to say that it wasn't directly related to this, that this was all part of a long-term plan. Fair enough, but they put the language criterion right into the press release. They said that it's going to be clearly requested of the next leader. So I think that they're trying to get themselves away from a very embarrassing situation.
So, Michelle, despite the announcement of his pending departure, the CEO is still expected to be grilled by MPs in the nation's capital for the most recent video controversy, for the video that was put out and the condolence video not in French, as he's been summoned, as we know, to Ottawa to appear before a committee before May 1st.
Saw a little bit of reaction there from Mulcair. What else are people saying?
Well, we do know Air Canada does have obligations under the Official Languages Act to provide services in both English and French, and to add more context, this is not the first time Rousseau has drawn the ire of many in Quebec for his lack of ability to speak French, vowing in 2021 to improve after facing heat for a speech almost entirely in English in Montreal, where the company's headquarters is located. We mentioned the swift reaction to the English-only condolence video. The Prime Minister at the time saying it showed a lack of judgment and was called out by other members of government. Now today, Government House Leader Stephen McKinnon with this post on social media saying, firstly, thanking Rousseau for his years of service, then pointing out the language issue once again, saying, quote, the Government of Canada will continue to work closely with Air Canada's leadership and board of directors to ensure the airline provides safe, reliable, affordable, and, Michelle, here's the line, bilingual service to all Canadians. So it appears the language issue has continued to be front and center.
CTV's Scott Hurst live for us in the National Newsroom. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle.
U.S. President Donald Trump has issued a new threat to the Iranian regime as America sends another 3,500 troops to the region. He says if a deal to end the war is not reached soon, the U.S. will attack Iran's electrical infrastructure, oil wells, and potentially its desalination plants.
His threat comes after he says Iran agreed to allow a number of oil tankers to pass through the Strait of Hormuz.
They gave us, I think out of a sign of respect, 20 boats of oil, big boats of oil, going through the Hormuz Strait.
Iran has effectively closed the waterway, which is a shipping route for roughly a fifth of the world's oil and natural gas. The closure has severely disrupted energy markets and impacted the global economy. Trump also suggested the U.S. could seize Iran's Karg Island, which is the main export point for Iranian oil. Meanwhile, a fuel tanker and an industrial building in Haifa has been hit by debris from an Iranian missile that was intercepted by Israeli air defenses. The Israeli military also says 2 drones fired from Yemen were intercepted today. It comes after Houthi militants in Yemen fired missiles at Israel for the first time since the war began.
Meantime, Trump says he's not concerned that a Russian oil tanker is set to deliver thousands of barrels of oil to Cuba, despite a U.S. oil blockade of the island nation.
If other countries want to do it, it doesn't bother me much. It's not going to have an impact. Cuba's finished. They have a bad regime. They have very bad and corrupt leadership. And whether or not they get a boat of oil, it's not going to matter.
Russia's transportation minister says a Russian tanker arrived in Cuba today carrying what it describes as humanitarian supplies of 370,000 barrels of oil. The vessel is sanctioned by the U.S., European Union, and the United Kingdom over Russia's ongoing invasion of Ukraine. In the UK, a popular Easter treat has been supersized for this year's celebrations. This is the world's largest mini egg at 3 feet tall and about 120 pounds. It took 2 days to make, and it's filled with milk chocolate and that a little bit hard exterior. The egg was created just for this Easter to entertain visitors to the Cadbury World theme park in Birmingham, England. The company's regular mini eggs are only available around this time of year. Hardly mini, Lindsay.
Yeah, I've had a few of the mini ones already, I'll admit it. And probably more to come. It is a mild day today, and it is going to be a mild one overnight tonight. Here's a look at our forecast. Low, 7 degrees in Toronto. That's well above seasonal. -1 is the average overnight temperature. And we're actually going to see the temperature rise to about 11 degrees by tomorrow morning. But as you can see, things look quite unsettled over the next couple of days here, beginning with potentially some thunderstorms overnight and tomorrow morning, and perhaps a few more rounds of wet weather before we reach what for many is a long weekend. We're going to take you through the 7-day forecast after this break here on CTV News at noon. Stay with us.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
That's how I feel about the forecast. It's just so mild and nice out there. And I know we're going to get to sports a little bit later, but the team, like the Jays doing so well, the Raps, I don't know.
Everybody seems to be rocking. It was a great sports weekend for sure with March Madness 2, the Jays, Raptors playing so well. And then you've got what feels like spring finally.
Finally. We do have some mild days this week. It's going to be a little unsettled at times. That's the trade-off, but it's okay. We welcome April in a couple of days. So, yeah, things are headed in the right direction. I think most would agree with that. And today is one of our warmer days. Some communities could climb past 20 degrees this afternoon, and we here in the city of Toronto are well on our way to that. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm. Injury lawyers you don't pay unless they win. Even though it's mild, it is quite cloudy out there today and has been through a good portion of the day already. There's the skyline shot from earlier this morning at around 8 a.m. So yeah, not a whole lot of sun. There was a peak of a sunrise. Look at these folks out for a walk down by the water. One pup in the lake. Yeah, the lake temperature is still a little cool for most those who are not, covered in fur. It would probably be a little chilly for a swim today, but yes, nice and comfortable temperature-wise. 17 degrees right now at Pearson Airport, a little warmer in Windsor as well as Niagara Falls. Wyerton, you're starting to climb. 10 degrees is where we're at right now. And here's a look at our expected daytime highs. So if we make it to 18 degrees, which it looks like we will pretty easily, that means we're 10 degrees warmer than normal. I do want to remind you that it's going to feel slightly cool, about 5 degrees cooler than that the closer you get to the shoreline of Lake Ontario. Record to beat today is 25.3 degrees set back in the year 1998. And right now, Hamilton is the hot spot of Ontario, just shy of 19. Overnight tonight, we're going to drop to a low of about 7 degrees. That's not so low. And then, in fact, the temperature is going to climb as we make our way into the early morning hours tomorrow. There's a catch, though. We've got active weather rolling in. Round of thunderstorms looks likely as most are heading out the door, beginning their AM commutes and getting the kids off to school for your Tuesday. And then while it is going to be warm tomorrow, 19 degrees in Woodstock, for example, 15 in Ajax, you can expect that it will be unsettled pretty much right through the day. Mostly cloudy skies, a little break in the precip, but then another round of showers moving in for the afternoon. Speaking of moving in, we've seen that increase in cloud cover already today. There's a couple of disturbances that we are watching for that are going to impact us over the coming days. Yeah, you can see just how active it is across southern Ontario, northern parts of the province too. As far as rainfall amounts, it's possible that we are going to see upwards of 20 millimeters of rain. That's just over the next couple of days here. So forecast radar, this is tonight. A few showers likely to develop. Thunderstorms overnight and into tomorrow morning. So that's about 6 a.m. Little break in the precip, and then again, more active weather into the evening, overnight into Wednesday. It's mainly those southwest Ontario, so Windsor over toward Niagara, where we expect the heaviest rain to fall over the next few days here. So 7-day forecast, you need the umbrella most days. We're seasonal Wednesday as we welcome April at about 9 degrees. Thursday is chilly, daytime high of only +2. Temperature rises again, though, into the long weekend. But yes, showers expected most of those days. That's your look at the weather. Nathan, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. The Blue Jays pitching staff set a major league record for most strikeouts in the first 3 games of a season, and they hope to continue that trend against the Colorado Rockies tonight.
Franchise record going back to 1977 as Okamoto drills one. High, deep, gone!
Kazuma Okamoto hit his first major league home run in the Jays' 5-2 win over the Athletics. The victory means the team has started the season 3-0 for the first time since 1992. First pitch for tonight's game against the Rockies is set for 7:07 at Rogers Center.
And how about the Raptors delivering a historic beatdown to the Orlando Magic last night as they won their second straight game.
5 on the clock. Scotty up fake, spins, 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Oh! Scotty Barnes spins around and throws it down.
After trailing by 7 in the first quarter, the Raptors scored 31 unanswered points. That is the largest unanswered scoring run by a team in the 30 seasons since the NBA began tracking play-by-play data. The Raptors went on to win the game 139-87. They're back on the court tomorrow to play the Detroit Pistons.
There could be fireworks on the ice tonight when the Maple Leafs face off against the Ducks in Anaheim.
Ben McCabe on the board with the pair today, and there's the shot, scores!
The Leafs are coming off a 5-1 loss to the St. Louis Blues Saturday night. Will mark the first time the team has faced the Ducks since Anaheim defenseman Radko Gudas ended Captain Austin Matthews' season with a knee-on-knee hit. It's unclear if Gudas will play tonight as he's dealing with an injury of his own. Puck drop is set for tonight at 10 Eastern in Anaheim.
The Scepters were looking to avoid back-to-back losses when they faced off with the Vancouver Golden Eyes yesterday afternoon.
Fast, walks the line, top of the circle, off the pad, another chance, Turnbull, Toronto scores!
Toronto got on the board first, scoring less than 3 minutes into the game. However, Vancouver came from behind to secure a 3-2 win. The Scepters, they'll be back on the ice Wednesday to play the Ottawa Charge. The team is currently a game out of a playoff spot. A volunteer is working hard to give young players a head start on their hockey dreams at Ted Reeve Arena.
Any family who's been through that East End program knows the name Coach Paul. And to local players and parents, he's a House League hero. CTV's Natalie Johnson has the story.
Well before the sun is up, Paul Pellman arrives at Ted Reeve Arena every Saturday and Sunday morning.
Okay.
To ready a rink that won't sit silent for long.
You'll see it's pandemonium. We have parents, kids, grandparents. It's magnificent.
And in the calm before the chaos, Coach Paul puts every piece in place.
These are for our volunteers to wear on the ice so that they identify themselves as the tight coaches.
Calling the shots for the setup.
2 nets only, yeah. Only 6. I think have it at the end.
It was 22 years ago that Pellman started this hockey house league with his friend Bob Acton.
I call it my therapy. I'm a divorce attorney by day, so I see a lot of ugliness. This is all good. How are you, buddy?
And every weekend morning since, he has been there when the first families roll in by 6:30 a.m.
Good morning.
A parade of parents coming in with coffee after an extra early morning.
Parents maybe have had a rough Saturday night, and, you know, he gives them a smile, so it's really good.
It's one of the reasons I get my son up at 5:45. I'm like, oh, we're going to get Coach Paul. He's going to be upset. We got to be out on the ice.
I'm going to put both you guys in dress room 6.
Pumping up every player ahead of game time.
Gonna rock today, buddy.
And there's not a name he doesn't know.
On your Toronto Maple Leafs white, Captain Taylor Hennessy, Hank the goal sniper Thompson, Oscar Sullivan, AKA the Music Man. I've got kind of a photographic memory for names and faces. I get to know the parents and makes it easier.
Over the years, Coach Paul has gotten to know thousands of kids.
Criers, happy kids, exuberant kids, kids who are quietly under the radar but who improve over time. It's the whole gambit. Good job, Asher.
And no matter their personality, he brings out perseverance.
When we started this league, these kids on a Sunday morning could not skate at all.
Coach Paul and his team got him on the ice. He was petrified, thought it was too slippery. And now he's made like a lot of friends.
New friends too for the parents whose weekend morning ritual has become something special.
We all as parents look forward to his emails weekly that he sends being like, here's what's coming up on Saturdays and Sundays, and it gets us all really excited.
You look at these emails and you go through it and he's thinking about every kid as he's writing them, obviously, and he knows everybody's, and that's the most important thing for these kids. They walk through the door and he says hi, and it just gets them going in the morning, which at 7 a.m. is pretty awesome.
By mid-morning, the pandemonium Pellman predicted.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Energizes the arena.
He lets everyone have fun. Every time we were doing bathrooms, he gave me advice, just keep your hands up.
Kids are fun. They're at a perfect age where they love life.
They love life, and they love him.
He's been the heart and soul of the entire year.
Hey, Jets, let's go!
Now 73, Pellman had no idea when he started this thing that he'd still be running the show 22 years later.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. But every year just keeps morphs into the next year.
And he's showing no signs of stopping.
We hope to see you next September.
The heart of this House League hockey.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
The legend of the league. Natalie Johnson, CTV News.
Still to come, AI is being pitched as a tool to make things easier, but new research is outlining the downsides of things becoming too simple. We'll have those details when we come back. AI is making life a lot easier for many people, but according to researchers at U of T, that might not be entirely good.
For more, we're joined by CTV science and technology specialist Dan Riskin. Dan, why might making things easier be bad for us?
Leave it to academics to take all the fun out of this. I mean, AI has this ability to make things so easy. Why not use it to, draft that email or to figure out how you're going to structure that essay or whatever it is you need to do? The point they make in this really great paper that they wrote themselves without AI helping them come up with the arguments is that it's the hard work where you do all the learning. And they worry that with these tools available, a lot of people are going to be missing out on the hard work that actually causes you to grow as a person. And so, thinking of students, for sure, that's a place where that exists. But also, just in terms of our day-to-day, how you stay on top of your game. If you can have Copilot write that email for you, or you can take the second to write it yourself, one of those is an easier option, but you do get something out of that hard lifting. And so they cite a whole bunch of research about how you learn more and you remember better when you've been doing the hard lifting. And they also cite research that shows when people use AI tools to write things and then they're asked about the thing that they wrote later, they can't remember it quite as well. And they can't remember what they wrote and what the AI wrote very well either. And so there's a danger in terms of these tools of just missing out on the chance to keep yourself sharp.
It makes sense. I remember a professor saying when you're in school, you're exercising the mind.
Yeah.
So if you're not doing that, well, that explains it.
Absolutely. And there's also the social aspect, which they talked about as well, which is, sometimes being lonely is what forces you to get out there and get into a new social situation and make friends. And maybe you'll be less lonely if you have an AI companion, and that's going to take the onus off of people to get out into those awkward situations. And so that could have downstream effects in terms of our socializing as well.
All right, another thing that might have downstreaming effects, all these apps for sleeping, that tracking it, apparently that might not be a great thing.
Yeah, so if you're having trouble sleeping, it seems intuitive that maybe getting an app on your phone or even on a smartwatch might help. Well, this is a new study that they asked a whole bunch of people with smartwatches, how much is it helping, but also how much is it hindering? And actually, they got pretty close answers going in the two different directions. So yes, a lot of people will respond, it helps me keep track of my sleep. I feel more in control of my sleep. I know better what's going on. But a lot of people said it's actually making me more stressed. It's actually pointing out to me that I thought I had a good sleep last night, but when I look at the data, I realize I didn't. And so it puts a little onus on people to think carefully about whether that tool is right for you, especially people with insomnia found that these apps weren't actually as helpful as they were hindering.
That's interesting. Okay, we got a surprising study to cap it off. If you are trying to listen really carefully in a noisy place, turns out you don't want to be closing your eyes to try to intently listen.
Yeah, I'm just imagining you're at a concert and you're listening for that one instrument or that one singer, and you just close your eyes so you can really focus on your hearing. This new study shows that doesn't actually improve your hearing. You actually hear better if your eyes are open, just looking at a blank screen. And your hearing is even better if you're looking at the thing that you're trying to listen to. So if you're listening for George Harrison's voice in a Beatles mix, looking at a picture of George Harrison will help you hear George better than looking at a blank screen, and that is even better than having your eyes closed. The best of all is if you're looking at a video of the thing you're listening for, that even if it's not synced up with the sound you're hearing, just seeing a moving picture. So this points out that our ears, we think of them as like this thing, and there's a separate bandwidth for the eyes, and if we get the eyes turned off, the ears will have 100% of our brain, but that's not how we work. Our ears are used to working with our eyes, and so if you bring your eyes online and have them doing stuff as well, your ears are used to that, and they work better. I just think that's so neat.
I would have thought the opposite. I always thought you close your eyes, you can focus and concentrate more.
Totally. Well, now this was specifically when you have a noise you're listening to with a bunch of background noise. There's a lot of noise and you're trying to listen for that thing. They didn't do this in silence. They didn't do it to see how well people pay attention. So there's a lot more experiments to be done. But for me, next time I go listen to a band at a venue, I'll have my eyes open for sure.
Wide open. Okay. CTV science and tech expert Dan Riskin, great to have you. You've enriched our brains today.
Thank you.
Have a great one. Hey, we are following some developing news at this hour from St. Catharines. This is where a CN rail train has derailed. Have a look, a live view from our CTV news chopper. The cause of the derailment, unknown at this early stage. The railway company said there are no injuries reported or fires, fortunately. This train was transporting a non-dangerous good called polyethylene, CN Railway confirmed, which is a product used to manufacture household products, but certainly an absolute mess. And you have to think this is going to affect traffic on that railway line as well. And it there's really no telling just how long it's going to take to get this back in order. It's a story we will continue to follow.
Still to come, new home sales in the GTA are continuing to underperform, but there are signs activity could pick up in the coming months. We'll have those details when we come back.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
The premier is set to travel to Texas later this week in an effort to expand provincial trade. He is going to be making stops in Dallas, Houston, and Austin to meet with automotive industry leaders. The premier is also set to meet with 2 Republican state representatives, as well as Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Officials say Ontario's trade with Texas makes up nearly half of Canada's total trade with the state.
New home sales in the GTA are continuing to underperform, but the Building Industry and Land Development Association says it expects activity to pick up in the next few months. Bill says the recently announced elimination of the HST on new homes will lead to increased activity. The association says a wide selection of inventory, as well as prices not seen since the late 2010s, are creating conditions for sales to increase. There were 531 new home sales in February, which was up 16% compared to a year ago. However, it was also 76% below the 10-year average.
The stars were out at Sunday's Juno Awards ceremony, including the Prime Minister, who presented folk icon Joni Mitchell with a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Through 19 studio albums, a career spanning more than 6 decades, Joni drew a map of Canada. Oh, Canada.
And the 82-year-old joined a musical tribute to her work alongside the likes of Sarah McLachlan, Allison Russell, Julie Black, The Beaches, and Alessia Cara. Nelly Furtado was also honored last night after being inducted into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame. She was introduced in a video message from Drake, who appeared at the Junos for the first time since 2011. He hosted the award show that year, but was famously snubbed from winning anything.
Can't be your gold star, 'cause I just got this far.
Toronto's own The Beaches won Best Group for the 3rd straight year. However, pop star Tate McRae was the night's big winner, taking home 4 awards, including Best Artist and Pop Album of the Year. The Calgary native did not attend the show.
Coming up, spring is in bloom in the U.S. Capitol. We'll have more on the visitors going to Washington, D.C. to see the cherry blossoms. A sure sign of spring is in bloom at the U.S. Capitol, with people gathering to snap photos of Washington, D.C.'s cherry blossoms.
The trees were a gift from Japan in the year 1912 and now draw more than 1 million visitors to Washington. CTV's Joy Malbin reports.
It's become a pink petal rite of spring, one of Washington's biggest tourist attractions. People are willing to face a crush of crowds just to take a look at those endless flowery clouds of cherry blossoms.
Oh, it's perfect. I mean, look all around you. I mean, it's all right here, right? You see all this beauty.
Bursting along the Tidal Basin and the National Mall, it's where love blooms.
This is his first cherry blossoms, right? He was just born 2 months ago.
And getting that perfect picture, well, it is a competitive sport.
It's really trial and error, just taking all the angles you can.
I'm not a photographer, but you know, I try to take every year pictures, but I feel every year this gets prettier.
The trees, 3,700 now, began as a diplomatic gift from Japan in 1912, a symbol of peace between 2 nations that once were at war. And while public sentiment on the U.S.-Iran war is mixed, it's not far from many minds.
I think coming together here at this time, it kind of helps us reflect a little more on why we're involved, you know, another war and what it's going to lead to.
Marcia Rose's father was a Marine.
I'm reflecting on it every moment of the day. I'm just appalled of what's happening in this country with that war. And that's about all I can say about it.
As faithful flower fans come to see nature all dressed up, Even the gnarly ones put on a show. Canadian Kyle Azevedo here for the Blossoms and...
Okay, and I see the Blue Jays hat.
Yeah, I got to represent.
Yeah?
Yeah, this is our year.
But there's a catch to all of this. This picture-perfect display, well, it never lasts long.
You have to be out here just to enjoy and appreciate all this because, in a few days it's all just going to blow away.
But they'll be back next year. Joy Malvin, CTV News, Washington.
And you notice how they're dressed in T-shirts and shorts?
I know. I mean, do we have anything blossoming right now? I've seen a little spurts, but yeah, our climate's a little different. We still have a ways till we see our cherry blossoms.
Yeah, and we do get some pretty nice ones here in Toronto, but it's typically more, if we're lucky, end of April, usually into the month of May, though. But it's something we can all look forward to. We can also look forward to this afternoon and some pretty mild conditions as well. Here's a look at what we're waking up to tomorrow morning, though. Jumping ahead, potentially some stormy weather, but already starting off the day in double-digit territory. 15 degrees the expected high for tomorrow, so another mild one. We're going to cool slightly into Wednesday, a seasonal high of 9 degrees. Thursday is becoming a little uncomfortable again, only +2. And yes, we do have some showers in the forecast. In fact, this is a pretty gray-looking 7-day forecast. Into the long weekend, it's looking unsettled for Friday, which is a holiday for so many. Saturday and Sunday, some of these Easter egg hunts may be a little rained out, but of course it is early in the week. We'll keep an eye on things. What we do know for sure is it's mild today, so get outside and enjoy. Nathan and Michelle.
All right, good advice. Thanks, Lindsay. And that is it for CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6. Have a great afternoon.